Good morning. It's time once again for the Sunday Night Weekend Review. I apologize for not being able to produce our report last Sunday night. And last night I went to an Oscar party and didn't get the report done either. You know, Oscars. Everybody's got to watch the Oscars. So I apologize for that. And here's the story for today, which is Monday, actually, March 3rd, Monday morning, March 3rd. In Europe this week, Craig Rolson reports that most of the trade are cautious. They don't want to take a position to be long or short because, as we all know, prices are at historic highs. It's relatively quiet, but there's a mixed trend in Europe. Craig says there's no clarity. Nobody has a keen sense of whether the market's moving up or moving down, which curtails speculation and curtails any fluctuation in prices to some degree. Males in Europe, generally speaking, and based mostly on the automotive business, are largely firm. Females are steady to softer with some Chinese interests, but again, they come in and look at those prices and they go, wow, there's no bargains here in Europe for this stuff. Veal skins are softly steady, and there's confusion. Adding to the confusion is potential Russian ban on exports, which who knows what's going to happen. Now, that was as of Friday night and Saturday. Now we've got the Ukrainian situation, and I'm not sure at this point how many hides Ukraine produces, or tans or tantals, but it doesn't help when you have the Russian situation and the Ukrainian situation going on in Europe. Not good for hides, not good for supply, let me put it to you that way. In the United States, steers this last week were firm to higher. Some were steady, but generally they were firm to some were higher. Like Texas was steady, branded steers and butts rose $1 or $2. Heavy native steers also gained about $1. The cow sector was firmly steady, all again at historically high prices. Even bulls advanced. It doesn't take much to clean up the American supply of bulls, not to be confused with European bulls. These are old and used for sole leather primarily, but they advanced too. There was one major buyer, I think, came in. And exports, the big news out of America this week was exports were 774,800 pieces. The kilo was around, I forget, 570, 560, 580. What was going on? Why did this happen? Why did the market not really go up because of that kill? You got to read HideNet report. We told you why happened. We researched it and found out. HideNet.com, get a free trial, and you will see what that 774,000, that huge surge in exports is all about. Latin America, TR1 hit a new high. Brazilian TR1 wet blue hit a new high, smashing the old record of $1.80, $1.85. And down there, they're talking, David Holtz reports, it could even go higher. They're not done. Why? It seems the world is flooding to get the cheap Brazilian hides, which are so cheap and, of course, will disappoint people who expected the grains like they were getting out of Europe or America. But tanners are desperate to get product. Kills are even shortening up in Brazil. They've been short in Argentina. Packers can't get enough product, which pushes up the price of green hides, which pushes up the cost of tanners. So we've got that going on. But also, in Brazil, kills have been a little bit less than normal in some areas. And demand is good as the low-cost alternative so far. Also, interesting in Brazil, David reports this week that domestic shoe business, Brazil's a huge country, domestic shoe business is down, and they're using for leather, not shoes, but for leather, because they're using more substitutes in Brazil as well. Green prices and splits are very, very strong, again, because of the demand for product. Basically, in Brazil, demand has outstripped supply at the moment. And tanners are afraid to sell too far forward because this market, they don't want to sell too cheap. Our This Week in Leather reports extensively gives an in-depth view of the brands, the major brands. Most are profitable. That includes the accessory manufacturers like the Louis Vuittons and all that. Kering, by the way, reported a loss because of Puma. We talk about that. Leather prices are on the rise. That's the big news in This Week in Leather. How much? You've got to read to find out at HideNet. But prices are on the rise. The major brands on the next round of negotiations, which are ongoing now, not everybody, but some report negotiate now for next fall. Those prices are going to be higher than they were last winter. No question about that. There's a good report on Liquier in Paris, that leather show, and on Moss Shoes in Russia. And there's an update on the Chrome 6 situation. And our editorial talks about why tanners have to adapt. They've got to adapt to face with substitutions or lose their markets, make leather at a price that brands can use, that their customers can use. And that's going on with blending and so on and so forth. A very, very, very difficult time for tanners. Maybe one of the most trying times I've ever seen. You'd think that bad business would be tough for tanners. Well, it's not bad business. Business is okay. Not fabulous, but okay. But they can't make any money because the rapid advance in high prices. Anyhow, read all about it, as they used to say. Read all about it. HideNet.com. Can you afford to be without it? Do you want to know what's going on every single week in these perilous times when prices are so high? One little downtick, lots of money. People can't get enough financing. You need all the information you can get all the time, and get it at HideNet.com. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week, and I promise not to be late.